I should have started my intro already. But this week has been I don't even want to say a harder week, because I don't even know if that's true. But at the same time, I can't think of a better word for it. So my goal, my plan, my aim was to come on here and do something that's more like hope-centered, hope-focused, more uplifting, if you will. But I think God had other plans, and so maybe next week we'll try again for a different song next week. This is where I kind of landed. It's funny because I almost went to start this video off by being like, yo, you know, I liked it better when my park was empty. Like, there's always people here now, which, like, you know, is a struggle in and of itself, because like I'm dancing and I'm like, is people watching? Does it really matter? You're never gonna see these people again. I mean, or you will, who cares? But I just felt the tiniest pull to be like, okay, but time changes and environments change, and you should be grateful for the time that you did have, and pray that, you know, all this praying and crying and dancing you've done in this park like means something. You've left something here that people are gleaning from, even if it's just like on a spiritual level, like people don't like consciously know it. And so I found myself struggling with the time changes, environments change piece, because there's a part of me that feels like, in my life in general, but like this series as representation, like you're back here doing this same thing, and what has changed for you. And I mean, there are some things that change, but like when I get further into this week, maybe you'll understand a little bit more, or not. I don't know how much I'm revealing in this episode, but this song, when it came out, I immediately put it on my potential dance playlist. And if I'm not mistaken, this song came out before I was sure that I was coming back to do Worship Wednesday again. I think somewhere in my heart I knew, though, you know, like I was toying with it. I wasn't sure about it. So I have been actively avoiding this song, but not like avoiding it in a literal sense. 2 trains back to back. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Train break. What was I saying? My brain is fried. Sorry, guys. It's not that I was actively avoiding this song. It was more so like, I know why this song touches me. I know why I feel the song. How do I make it tangible without being too revealing? Because, you know, I struggle between how much of this I let into my real world for real, and how much of it is like, there's still some of my business that's my personal business, right? And also, it's not just isolated to one scenario. So then, like, how do I condense this? I'm gonna split this up into 2 parts. The name of the song is What I Needed. And it starts off by saying, like, I want to thank you for taking away the thing that I wanted. And protection don't always feel good. But ultimately directing it back to God's sovereignty, and like not knowing what we really need, but God knows what's best for us. And so when things don't happen the way we want them to, we still have to trust God's sovereignty and God's plan and his ability to know what's best for us, even when we're like being defiant and hard-headed and stubborn in the midst of whatever the situation is, right? And so on that side of it, I'm very much like, the first time I heard the song, like, thank you for taking away the thing that I thought I wanted because it could have hurt me. And so I feel that because there's something that I thought, not even that I needed, but it's something that like I thought I wanted, something that was on my list, something that I thought I had figured out, and as it pertains to my life, that is not in my life, right? And there's also something that I thought was going to be good for my life, that in retrospect, while it has been faith forming and helping me trust God more, it's not at all how I pictured it or what I thought it would be in my life. And so to see both sides of the same coin in real time is really like eye-opening for me. And also there's this person that I call like my little reminder, because every once in a while me and this person will speak, and it'll talk about some of the things that like I thought I wanted for my life, or like was back when those things were relevant to my life, and like doing like a compare and contrast. And sometimes I'll listen and I always smile up at God and I'm like, thank you, because it's the reminder that everything that glitters ain't gold, and everything that appears to be one way or is showcased as something, the truth and the actuality of some of those things aren't really what it appears to be, right? So it's the facade of it, it's the idea of it. Would you want to deal with the actual literal implications of what it would mean for that to still be in your life? And sometimes I listen to some of the things that are happening and I'm like, oh, nah, I'm good. Like, God really did save me. And so I think he sent this person as a reminder, along with this song, like, God still knows best for me. God still wants what's best for me. And I had prayed a prayer along the lines of like, if this doesn't fit the alignment of your will, if this doesn't help push me closer to you, if this doesn't help me be a stronger woman in Christ, if this doesn't, help me be better, help my life be better, if this isn't what brings you glory, then I don't want it. And like, I had to be mindful, like, you prayed that prayer. So if the response to that prayer was to move it further away from you, then God heard that. And it wasn't just because he was being mean or he didn't want to give you what you wanted or what you were asking for, and not because he couldn't change that situation, because he's perfectly capable and perfectly able to do it. But if he didn't, you have to trust his sovereignty. And so I'm thankful for the moments that God's like, I heard that prayer, it was a dangerous prayer, but thank you for trusting me with it. Now you have to deal with the emotions that come with trusting me in it, right? So on one side of this song, I'm processing, it's this two sides of the same coin, but two very, very different situations. One thing that I thought I wanted and God took it away. One thing that I thought was going to go a certain way, but he sees, like, sometimes when you get what you want, it's not exactly what you thought it would be. And they're two very different situations, but the principle is the same. And so learning God to trust him in both of the ways at the same time is crazy, right? Then there's this ad lib. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna find a way to stick it in here because I didn't do a good job of dancing all the way through. I kind of got emotional a little bit, whatever, we cry sometimes, it's cool. But also it's a long song, but it's an ad lib that's towards the end, and the chorus is like, felt like you didn't come through for me when you didn't give me exactly what I wanted. And Chandler Moore goes, if I'm being honest. I love ad libs, but that ad lib took me out, right? And so I want to take that idea of, like, if I'm being honest. Here's the thing, and I caught myself in one of those situations where I'm like, I be saying things to people and God will catch me and being like, you could say this to somebody, but do you believe it for yourself, right? You could say this to people, but I'm actually using this situation as you're speaking life into somebody else to turn around and speak life back into yourself. So when I hear that line, if I'm being honest, I mean, I've always loved the ad lib, but more and more now it's become more clear to me. So I was having a conversation with somebody else and they were talking about, like, the whole notion of, like, don't question God, right? And I was like, asking God questions and questioning God, like questioning the authority or the sovereignty or the might of God, is not the same thing, right? And so I was like, you need to be honest. You need to trust God with your honesty. And so I was saying to somebody, like, the word literally says his strength is perfected in our weakness. But if we are too arrogant, if we are too proud to be honest with God about our weaknesses, then he can't provide us the strength to perfect that it will be perfected in our weakness. So I was like, how do we think we're gonna gain or benefit from not being honest with God when the truth of the matter is he knows it already? But God is a gentleman. He's not going to force himself upon you. He's not going to make you see his ways. He wants the relationship with you. And by relationship, that means communication. That means intimacy. That means time together. And so in order for us to really really bask and absorb the benefits of a relationship with God that then requires to actually do the acts or the motions of a relationship. And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, if I'm being honest, and so, like, you know, I've talked a lot, whether on here or like with other people in conversations, like, in this season, am I feeling peace or am I feeling indifference? And like this kind of juggle between the two. And like, I've done some real like in-depth soul searching to feel like, no, this is peace. But the insecurity of not fully embracing it, that's another series, another episode for another time. But like, the fact of the matter is that in order for me to really embrace the peace, I have to be open and honest about my weakness or my frustration or where I feel like these things are stemming from. Because if I'm not honest with God, then he doesn't have the openness, that's not the word I was looking for, but I can't think of the word I'm looking for. He doesn't have the environment, the welcome to come in and do what he wants to do. What he wants to do, it's not just what he can do, but what he wants to do, how he wants to show up in our lives, how he wants to grow us and strengthen us, how he wants to commune with us, how he wants us to deepen our faith so we'll rely on him more and more. So the fact of the matter is that if I'm being honest, I had a rough run at it, and instead of really embracing my vulnerability and embracing the emotions, I've done a lot of banter and smart remarks to laugh it away. I've made a lot of jokes to make humor out of it. I've done a lot of burying myself in other things so that I stay busy, so that I'm not really dealing with it. But have I done the work of being honest? Being honest about what hurts, being honest about what isn't ideal, being honest about what I'm struggling with. Have I done the work to be honest so that he can come in and actually, his strength is perfected in my weakness. So am I allowing God to really see the visibility that is my weakness? So that ad-lib that I've always loved ever since the first time I heard that song now has new meaning for me, and I'm so appreciative for that. So yeah, it was a week that hasn't necessarily been ideal, on a series of weeks that hasn't necessarily been ideal, and in a park that's full at a time where there's too many trains for me to pause every time one comes by. And nevertheless, here I am still trying to give God glory. And the new revelation is that it's not in spite of. It's not in spite of. Watch this. I gotta go, y'all. I got somebody looking for me. But it's not in spite of, it's not ignoring what makes it hard, but embracing it and allowing God to be great anyway. And for that, I'm grateful. So I gotta go, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Worship Wednesday. I do not take it lightly. I do not take it for granted. I will forever always be humble, grateful, and thankful that you keep coming back week after week to see what God is doing in and through my life, but told through a profession of dance. As always, I pray that something that you saw, something that you heard, or some movement that you saw gives you something to talk about with God today. I pray that you can take it a step further and share with others the reason why you believe. If I said something incorrect, charge it to the fact that I'm now rushing because there's somebody looking for me, and not because God isn't good. If it goes against his word, I pray that it falls into the sea of forgiveness, never to be seen from or heard from again. God willing, I will see y'all next week. Bye.
I want to thank you for kindly taking away the thing I had, 'cause it could have hurt me. Protection don't feel good in the moment, but looking back, wasn't trying to be disrespectful. You know I'm stubborn, I never would have let go. But trust is hard with a broken heart, but with you, I finally learned. It felt like you did come through for me when you didn't do exactly what I wanted, but you always give me what I needed. Foolish of me to box you in. The shape of my broken heart didn't leave you much. who I made you to be. Open my head, but I wanna love you for exactly who you are and nothing less. Cause when I try to piece together my own version, you're always better. Trust is hard with a broken heart, but with you, I finally learned. It felt like you did come through for me when you didn't do exactly what I wanted. But you always give me what I needed. Foolish of me to box you in. The shape of my broken heart didn't leave you much room. But you always give me what I needed. Come on. Oh, you know, you know. Oh, I see it now. You knew what you were doing. You got it figured out. I trust what you are doing. You got it figured. I trust what you are doing. Come on. I see it. You had it all under control. You got it figured. I trust what you would do. Come on. It felt like you did it. It felt like you did do for me when you didn't do exactly what I want. Come on, yeah. You always give me what I needed. Foolish of me about you in the shape of my broken heart didn't leave you much. But you always, come on. Felt like you did come through for me when you didn't do exactly what I wanted. But you always give me what. Come on. Foolish of me to box you in. The shape of my broken heart didn't leave. Oh, one more time. Felt like you did it. Felt, if I'm being honest, you always give me. Foolish of me, foolish of me. Shape